My children, latest generation born from Cadmus, why are you sitting here in supplication to me, while the city fills with incense, chants, and cries of pain? Children, I know why you have come. It would not be appropriate for me to learn of this from any other source, so I have come in person. I, Oedipus, whose fame all men acknowledge. But you there, lady, you seem to be the one who ought to speak for those assembled here. Tell me, what feelings bring you to me, fear or desire? You can be confident that I will help. I shall willingly assist you in every way I can. I'd be a hard-hearted man indeed if I did not pity suppliants like these.
Oedipus, ruler of my native land, you see how people here of every age are crouching down around your altars. Some fledglings barely strong enough to fly, and others bent by age, with priests as well, for I'm priestess of Zeus. And these ones here, the pick of all our youth. The other groups sit in the marketplace, with suppliant branches, or else in front of Pallas's 2 shrines, or where Isamenus prophesies with fire.
Our city, as you yourself can see, is badly shaken. She cannot raise her head above the depth of so much surging death. Disease infects the fruit blossoms in our land. Disease infects our herds of grazing cattle, makes women in labor lose their children, and deadly pestilence, that fiery god, swoops down to blast the city, emptying the house of Cadmus and filling black Hades with groans and howls.
These children and myself all sit here by your home, not because we think you're equal to the gods. No, we judge you, the first of men, in what happens in this life and in our interactions with the gods. For you came here to our Cadmean city and freed us from the tribute we were paying to that cruel singer. In their stories, the people testify how with the gods' help you gave us back our lives. So now, Oedipus, greatest king in all men's eyes, we're here as suppliants, all begging you to find some help for us, either by listening to a heavenly voice or by learning from another human being. For in my view, men of experience provide advice that gives the best results. So now, you best of men, act to consolidate your fame. For thanks to your eagerness in earlier days, the city celebrates you as its savior. Be that same man today. If you are to rule as you are doing now, it is better to be king in a land of men than in a desert. An empty ship or a city wall is nothing if no men share a life together there.
My poor children, I know why you have come. I am not ignorant of what you yearn for I understand that you are ill, and yet, sick as you are, there is not one of you whose illness equals mine. For your agony comes to each one of you as his alone, a special pain for him and no one else. But the soul inside me sorrows for myself, and for the city, and for you all together. You are not rousing me from a deep sleep. You must know that I have been shedding many tears, and in my wandering thoughts exploring many pathways. After a careful search, I grasped the only help that I could find, and acted on it. So I've sent away my brother-in-law, son of Oedipus, Creon, to Pythian Apollo's shrine, to learn from him what I might do or say to save our city. But when I count the days, the time he's been gone, I now wonder what he's doing. For he's been gone too long, well past the time he should have taken. But when he returns, I'd be a wicked man if I do not act on all that God reveals.
What you have said is most appropriate.
My lord, Creon approaches.
Lord Apollo, as he returns, may fine shining fortune, bright as his countenance, attend on him.
Let us hope the news he brings is good.
My royal kinsman, child of Oedipus, what message do you bring us from the god?
Good news, I tell you. If things turn out well, then our current troubles, so difficult to bear, will end up bringing us great benefits.
And what is the oracle? So far your words inspire in me no confidence or fear.
If you wish to hear the news in public, I'm prepared to speak, or we could step inside.
Speak out to everyone. The grief I feel for these citizens is even greater than any pain I feel for my own life.
Then let me report what I heard from the god. Lord Phoebus clearly orders us to drive away the polluting stain this land has harbored. It will not be healed if we keep nursing it.
What sort of cleansing? And this disaster, how did it happen?
By banishment, or atone for murder by shedding blood again, for blood brings on the storm which blasts our state.
The one whose fate the god revealed, what sort of a man is he?
Before you came, my lord, to steer our ship of state, Laius ruled this land.
Yes, I know that, but I never saw the man.
Laius was killed, and now the god is clear. Those murderers must be punished.
And where are they? In what country? Where am I to find a trace of this ancient crime? It will be hard to track.
Here in Thebes, so said the god. What is sought is found, but what is overlooked escapes.
When Laius fell in bloody death, where was he? At home or in his fields? Or in another land?
He was abroad, on his way to Delphi. That's what he told us. He began the trip, but did not return.
Was there no messenger, no companion who made the journey with him and witnessed what took place? The sort of man who could provide some knowledge men could use?
They all died, except for one, who was afraid and ran away. There was only one thing he could tell us of with confidence about the things he saw.
And what was that? We might get somewhere if we had one clue. We could uncover many things if we had some slender hope to get us going.
They were attacked by bandits, not just a single man, a gang of them. They came on with force and killed him.
How would a thief have dared to do such a thing? Unless he had financial help from Thebes.
That's what we guessed, but once Laius was dead, we were in trouble, so no one sought revenge.
When the ruling king had fallen in this way, what bad trouble blocked your path, preventing you from looking into it?
It was the Sphinx. She sang her cryptic song and so forced us to put aside something we found obscure, to look into the problem that we now faced.
Then I shall start afresh and once again shed light on darkness. It is most fitting that Apollo demonstrates his care for the dead man, and worthy of you too. And so you shall see how I will work with you, as is right, seeking vengeance for this land as well as for the god. This polluting stain I will remove, not for some distant friends, but for myself. For whoever murdered Laius may soon enough desire to turn his hand to punish me in the same way as well. Thus, in avenging Laius, I serve myself. You can be confident that I will help. I shall willingly assist you in every way I can. I'd be a hard-hearted man if I did not pity you, all of you.
Let us get up, children, for this man has willingly declared just what we came for.
And may Phoebus, who sent this oracle, come as our saviour and end our sickness.
have come to glorious Thebes, O sweet speaking voice of Zeus. But what is your intent? Whose lips have you let loose? My fearful heart twists on the rack and shakes with fear painted black.
Citizens of Thebes, you pray, but if you listen now to me, you'll get your wish. Hear what I have to say and treat your own disease. Then you may hope to find some relief from your distress. I speak as one who is a stranger to the story, a stranger to the crime. If I alone were tracking down this act, I'd not get far without a single clue. But as things stand, since it was after the event that I became a citizen of Thebes, I now proclaim the following to all of you Cadmeans. Whoever among you knows the man it was who murdered Laius, son of Labadicus, I order him to reveal it all to me. And if the killer is afraid, I urge him to avoid the danger of the major charge by speaking out against himself. If so, he will be sent out from this land unharmed and undergo no further punishment. If someone knows the killer is a stranger from some other state, let him not stay mute. As well as a reward, he'll earn my thanks. But if he remains quiet, if anyone, through fear, hides himself or a relative of his against my orders, then here's what I shall do. So listen to my words, for I decree that no one in this land shall give that killer shelter.
Yes!
Or talk to him, whoever he may be, or act in concert with him during prayers or sacrifice or sharing lustral water. Ban him from your homes, every single one of you, for he is our pollution, as the Pythian god in his oracles has just revealed to me. In this, I'm acting as an ally of the god, and also of dead Laius. And I pray, whoever the man is, one unknown person acting on his own or with companions, the worst of agonies wear out his wretched life. And I pray too, that if he should become an honored guest in my own home and with my knowledge, I may suffer all those things I've just called down upon the killers. And I urge you now to make sure all these orders take effect, for my sake, for the sake of the god, and for our barren, godless, ruined land.
Yes!
For in this matter, even if a god were not urging us, it would not be right for you to leave things as they are and not purify the murder of a man who was so noble and who was your king. You should have looked into it. But now I possess the power Laius held in earlier years. I have his bed and wife. She would have borne his children had his hopes to have a son not been disappointed. Children from a common mother might have linked Laius and myself. But as it turns out, fate swooped down on his head. So now I'll fight on his behalf as if this matter concerned my own father, and thus avenge the son of Labadicus and Polydorus, of Cadmus and Agenor from old times. As for those of you who do not do what I urge, I pray the gods send them no fertile land, no, nor any children in their women's wombs. May they all perish in our present fate, or one more hateful still. To you others, you Cadmians who support my efforts, may justice, our ally, and all the gods attend on us with kindness all our days.
The king! For the king!
My lord, since you extend this oath to me, I will tell you this. I am not the murderer, nor do I know who the killer is. As for what you're searching, it's for Lord Apollo who launched this search to say who did it.
That is well said, but no man has power to force the gods to speak against their will.
May I then suggest what seems to me the next best course of action?
You may indeed, and if there is a third course too, don't hesitate to let me know.
Our Lord Tiresias, I know, can see into things like Lord Apollo. From him, a man investigating this might well find out clear details of the crime.
I've taken care of that. It's not something I could overlook. At Creon's urging, I've dispatched 2 messengers to him and have been wondering for some time now why he has not come.
Well, apart from that, there were rumors, but inconclusive ones from a long time ago.
Rumors? What sort of rumors? I'm looking into every story.
Well, it was said Laius was killed by certain travelers.
Yes, I've heard as much. But no one has seen the one who did it.
Well, if the killer has any fears, once he hears your curses against him, he will not falter, for they are serious.
Well, in my experience, a man who's not afraid of doing the act is not afraid of words.
No, not when no one stands there to convict him. But at last, Tiresias is being guided here, our godlike prophet in whom the truth resides more so than in all other men.
My lord, the prophet Tiresias.
Tiresias! You who understands all things, what can be taught and what cannot be spoken of, what goes on in heaven and here on earth. You know, although you cannot see, how sick our state is. And so we find in you alone, great seer, our shield and savior. For Phoebus Apollo, in case you haven't heard the news, has sent us an answer to our question. The only cure for this infecting pestilence is to find the men who murdered Laius and kill them, or else expel them from this land as exiles. So do not withhold from us your prophecies from voices of the birds or other means. Save this city and yourself. Rescue me. Deliver us from all pollution by the dead. For a mortal man, the finest labor he can do is to help other human beings as best he can.
How dreadful it can be to have wisdom when it brings no benefit to the man possessing it. This I had known, but it had slipped my mind. Otherwise, I would not have come here.
What is wrong? You have come, but seem distressed.
Let me go home. You must carry your burdens to the very end, and I will carry mine, if you allow me.
What you are saying is not customary, and shows little love towards the city-state which nurtured you. If you deny us your prophetic voice...
I see your words are also out of place. I do not speak for fear of doing the same.
If you know something, then by the gods, do not turn away. We are your suppliants, all of us. We bend our knees to you.
You are all ignorant. I will not reveal the troubles within my heart, nor will I state they are your griefs as well.
What are you saying? Do you know and you will not say? Do you intend to betray me and destroy the city?
I will cause neither me nor you distress. Tell me, why do you vainly question me like this? You won't learn a thing from me.
You most disgraceful of disgraceful men. You would move something made of stone to rage. Will you not speak out? Will your stubbornness never have an end?
You blame my nature, but do not see the temper you possess. Instead of that, you're finding fault with me.
What man who listened to these words of yours would not be enraged? You insult the city.
Yet events will still unfold for my silence.
Since they will come, you must inform me.
No, I won't say a thing. Fume on about it if you wish, as fiercely as you want.
I will. In my anger, I will not conceal just what I make of this. You should know I get the feeling you conspired in the act and played your part as much as you could do, short of killing him with your own hands. If you could use your eyes, I'd have said that you had done this work all by yourself.
Is that so? Well, then I will hold you to the very words which you yourself proclaimed. And from now on, speak not to these men nor to me. The accursed polluter of this land is you.
You dare to utter shameful words like this? Do you think you can get away with it?
I am getting away with it. The truth within me makes me strong.
Who taught you this? It could not have been your craft.
You did. I did not want to speak, but you incited me.
What do you mean? Repeat what you just said so I can understand you more precisely.
Did you not grasp my meaning earlier, or are you trying to test me with your questions?
I did not fully understand your words. Tell me again.
I say that you yourself are the one you seek. The one who murdered Laius.
That's twice you've stated that disgraceful lie. Something you will regret.
Shall I tell you even more so you can grow even more enraged?
As much as you desire, it will be useless.
I say that with your dearest family unknown to you, you are living in disgrace. You have no idea how bad things are.
Do you really think you can just speak out, say things like this, and still remain unpunished?
Yes, I can. If the truth within me gives me any power.
It does. But not for you. Truth is not in you. For your ears, your mind, your eyes are blind.
You are a wretched fool to use harsh words, which all men will soon enough use to curse you.
You live in the endless darkness of the night, so you can never harm me nor a man who can glimpse daylight.
It is not your fate to fall because of me. No, Lord Apollo will make that happen. He will be enough.
Is this something Creon has devised, or is it your invention?
Creon is no threat. You have made this trouble all on your own.
Oh, wealth and ruling power, skill after skill, surpassing all in life's rich rivalries. How much envy you must carry with you if, for this kingly office which the city gave me, for I did not seek it out, Creon, my old trusted family friend, has secretly conspired to overthrow me and paid off a double-dealing quack like this, a crafty bogus priest who can only see his own advantage, who in his special art is absolutely blind. Come on, tell me, when have you ever given evidence of your wise prophecy? When the Sphinx, that singing bitch, was here, you said nothing to set the people free. Why not? Her riddle was not something the first man to stroll along could solve. A prophet was required. But there the people saw your knowledge was no use. Nothing from birds or picked up from the gods. But then I came, Oedipus, who knew nothing, yet I finished her off, using my wits rather than relying on birds. That's the man you wish to overthrow, hoping, no doubt, to stand up there with Creon when he is king. But I think you and your conspirator in this will regret your attempt to drive me from the state. If you did not look so old, you'd find out the punishment your arrogance deserves.
You may be king, but I am not your slave. I do have the right to answer you, for I serve Apollo's name. And thus I will never stand with Creon, signed up as his man. So I say this to you, and you do well to listen the best you can. It's strange you've chosen to insult my blindness when you have your eyesight and yet you do not see. How miserable you are, where you live, who you're with. Are you sure you know your own family? Without your knowledge you have turned into the enemy of your own house, both in the world below and those who've not yet gone south. And the dreadful scourge of that two-edged curse of father and mother you'll one day disperse from this land in exile. Those eyes of yours for which you choose not to use, which now see so clearly will be dull, abused. Well, what hollow will not echo with your cries, when Kithrin will not soon be heard in the skies? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. You have no notion of the quantity of the troubles within that ring.
Keep throwing insults at Creon on my prophecies as you see fit to blink. From among all living mortals, nobody will be destroyed more urgently than you. Remember, it was through a wedding that allowed you to make me.
Must I tolerate this insolence from him? Get out, and may the plague get rid of you. Off with you now, turn your back and go, and don't come back here to my home again.
I would not have come, but you summoned me.
I did not think that you would speak so stupidly. If I had, you'd have waited a long time before I called you here.
I was born like this. You think I am a fool, but to your parents, the ones who made you, I was wise enough.
Wait! My parents. Who was my father?
This day will reveal that and destroy you.
Everything you speak is all so cryptic, like a riddle.
Well, solving riddles, are you not the best there is?
Mock my excellence, but you will find out that I am truly great.
That success of yours has been your ruin.
I do not care if I have saved the city.
I will go now. Boy, lead me away.
Yes, let him guide you off. You're in the way. Once you're gone, you won't provoke me further.
I'm going. First I shall tell you why I came. I do not fear the face of your displeasure. There is no way you can destroy me by proclaiming threats and issuing orders about the one who murdered Lice. The man is here according to the streets. He's a stranger who lives here in plain sight, but he'll prove to be a native of Thebes. From that change he'll derive no pleasure. He'll be blind although he now can see. He'll be poor although he is now rich. He'll set off for a foreign country, groping the ground before him with a stick, and he'll turn out to be the brother of the children in his house where he lives, both at once son and husband. So the same womb as his father, and murdered him, think what this could bring. If you discover I have spoken falsely, you can rip me limb from limb. After all, you may be.
Prophecy reader who has just fled stirs up my fears, unsettling dread. I cannot approve of what he said, yet I cannot deny it in my head.
Against him Zeus' son now springs, armed with lightning, fire, and rings, leading on the undisputed, terrifying fury.
One man may leave another far bemused, but until I see the words confirmed, I'll not consider a choice, will not rejoice. Why the hell the oracular voice is stating, Oedipus the man accused.
Like a wild boar, he wanders now, hidden upon a wooden seat. Through rocks and caves, be strong, be brave. along with his despair on joyless feet.
Keeping his distance from what was shown, uttered at Earth's central navel stone.
But that fatal oracle still lives wherever, hovering above his head forever.
In wisdom, one man made another father use. But until I see the words confirmed,
I'm not considering a choice.
will not rejoice. Why the hell the oracular voice is stating Oedipus the man accused?
Speaking from the Delphic rock, the voice in his own name. But who is a man with blood-red hands has done unspeakable shame?
The time has come for him to flee, to move with power more swiftly than hooves on horses on cobble streets, like a storm moving at their feet. I'm confused, what shall we say? My hopes are fun, but all away. With no clearance, won't go or stay.
No, we need an answer today.
In wisdom, one man made even another father muse. But until I see the words confirmed and I consider a choice, will not rejoice. Why the hell the oracular voice is stating Oedipus the man accused. 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 When that winged sphinx went after him, he was a wise man, then we witnessed him. He passed the test and endeared himself to all the city's chimes. Apollo and Zeus are truly wise. They understand the human demise. So in my thinking now, he never will be guilty of a crime.
You citizens, I have just discovered that Oedipus, our king, has leveled charges against me, disturbing allegations that I cannot bear.
Murderer!
In these present troubles, if he believes that he has suffered injury from me, in word or deed, then I have no desire to go on living into ripe old age, still bearing his reproach. For me, the injury produced by this report is not a single isolated matter. No, it has the greatest scope of all. If I end up being called a bad citizen here in the city, a wicked man by you and by my friends.
Perhaps he charged you spurred on by the rash power of his rage rather than his mind's true judgment.
Was it publicized that my persuasion convinced Tiresias to utter lies?
That's what was said. I have no idea just what was meant by that.
Did he accuse me and announce the charges with a steady gaze, in a normal state of mind?
I do not know.
You! What are you doing here? Have you grown so bold-faced you now come here to my own home? You who are obviously the murderer of the man whose house it was, a thief come to steal my throne. Come, in the name of all the gods, tell me this. Did you plan to do it because you thought I was a coward or a fool, or that I would not learn of your actions as they crept up on me with such deceit, or that if I knew, I would not be able to deflect them? This attempt of yours, is it not madness to chase after a king's place without friends, without a horde of men, seeking a goal which only gold or factions can attain?
Will you listen to me? It's your turn now to let me make a suitable response. Once you've heard that, then judge me for yourself.
You're a clever talker. But from you I'll learn little. I know you now, a troublemaker, an enemy of mine.
At least first listen to what I have to say.
There's one thing you do not have to tell me, that you've not done wrong.
If you think being stubborn and abandoning common sense is wise, then you're not thinking as you should.
And if you think that you could try to injure a man who is a relative of yours and walk away without a penalty, then it is you who has not been thinking wisely.
I agree. What you've just said makes sense. So tell me the nature of the damages you claim you're suffering because of me.
Did you or did you not persuade me to send for Tiresias, that prophet?
Yes, and I'd still give you the same advice.
And how long is it since Laius?
Did what? What's Laius got to do with anything?
Since Laius was carried off and disappeared. since he was killed so brutally?
A long time. Many years have passed since then.
At that time, was Tiresias as skilled in prophecy?
Then, as now, he was honored for his wisdom.
And back then, did he ever mention me?
No, never. Not while I was with him.
Did you not investigate the killing?
Of course we did, but we found nothing.
Then why didn't this man, this wise man, speak up?
I don't know. And when I don't know something, I prefer to hold my tongue.
You know enough. At least enough to say.
Say what? If I really do know something, then I will not deny it.
If Tiresias were not working with you, he would not have named me as the one who murdered Laius.
If he says this, well, you're the one who knows. But I think the time has come for me to question you the way that you've been questioning me.
Ask whatever you wish. You'll never prove that I'm the murderer.
Then tell me this. Are you not married to my sister?
Since you ask that, yes, I don't deny it.
And you two rule this land as equals?
Whatever she desires, she gets from me.
And am I not third, equal to you both?
That's what makes your friendship so deceitful.
No, not if you think things through, as I do. Consider this. In your view, would anyone prefer to rule and have to cope with fear, rather than live in peace, carefree and safe, if his powers were the same? I, for one, have no natural desire to be king in preference to performing royal acts. The same is true of any other man whose understanding grasps things clearly. For now, I get everything I want from you, but without the fear. If I were king myself, I'd be doing many things against my will. So how can being a king be sweeter to me than royal power without anxiety? I am not yet so imperfect in my mind that I want things which bring no benefits. Now, all men are my friends and wish me well, and those who want something from you now flatter me, since I'm the one who brings success in what they want. So why would I give up such benefits for something else? It is not in my nature to love such policies, and if I knew another man pursued such things, I would not work with him. I could not bear to. If you want proof of this, then go to Delphi. Ask the prophet if I brought back to you exactly what was said. At that point, if you discover that I have planned something, that I've conspired with Tiresias, then arrest me and have me put to death, not merely on your own authority, but on mine as well, a double judgment. Do not condemn me on an unproved charge. It is not right to judge these things by guesswork, to assume bad men are good or good men bad. In my view, to throw away a noble friend is like a man who parts with his own life, that thing most dear to him. Give it some time, then you will see clearly, since only time can fully validate a man who's true. A bad man is exposed in just one day.
My lord, for a man concerned about being killed, he has spoken eloquently. Those who are unreliable give rash advice.
If some conspirator moves against me in secret and with speed, I must be quick to make my counter plans. If I just rest and wait for him to act, then he'll succeed in what he wants to do, and I'll be finished.
What do you want? To exile me from here?
No, I expect you to die, not just run off, so I can demonstrate what envy means.
You are determined not to listen to me or change your mind.
You'll not convince me, for there is no way I can trust you.
I can see that you've become unbalanced.
I'm sane enough to defend my interests.
You should be protecting mine as well.
But you're a treacherous man. It's your nature.
What? If you are wrong.
I still have to govern.
Not if you do it badly.
Oh, Thebes, my city!
I too have some rights in Thebes. It is not yours alone.
My lords, I see Jocasta approaching the palace.
Just in time with her, we should bring this quarrel to a close.
You foolish men, why are you arguing in such a stupid way? With our land so sick, aren't you ashamed to start a private fight? Oedipus, go to our house, and Creon, return to yours. Why inflate a trivial matter into something huge?
Sister, your husband Oedipus intends to punish me in one of two dreadful ways. To banish me from my father's country, or to arrest me and then have me put to death.
That's right, lady. I caught this man committing treason, a vicious crime against me personally.
Let me not prosper, but die a man accursed if I have done what you accuse me of.
Oedipus, for the sake of the gods, trust him in this. Respect that oath he made before all heaven. Do it for my sake and for those around you.
My lord, I beg of you, agree with her. Consent to this.
What is it you're asking me to do?
Pay Creon due respect. He's not been foolish in the past, and that oath he's sworn now has power.
Are you aware just what you're asking?
Yes, I understand.
Then tell me clearly what you mean to say.
You should not accuse a friend of yours and thus dishonor him on a mere story which may be proven false, especially not when he's sworn such an oath and could be subject to a curse.
By this point, you should understand what you are doing when you request this, seeking to exile me from Thebes or kill me.
No, I swear by sacred Helios, God who stands preeminent above the rest, let me die a miserable death, accursed by the gods and by my friends if I've ever had such a thought. But the troubles of this land weigh down on my heart, as does this quarrel between the two of you, if you will add new problems to the ones that already afflict us.
Very well then, let him go, even if it means I must be killed or forced out from here in exile. I'll be moved to act compassionately by your words, not by what Creon has said. But if he stays here, he will be hateful to me.
You are stubborn, obviously unhappy to concede, and when you lose your temper, you go too far. But men like that find it most difficult to tolerate themselves. In that, there's justice.
Why not go? Just leave me alone.
I'll leave, since I see that you do not understand me. But our citizens know that I'm a reasonable man.
Lady, would you escort this king home?
Yes, once I've learned what happened here.
They quarreled, it gave rise to uninformed suspicions, but even unjust words inflict sore wounds.
From both of them.
Yes.
What caused it?
It seems to me with our country in such distress, it's enough to leave things as they are.
Now do you see the point that you've reached, thanks to your noble wish to dissolve and dull what I felt in my heart?
My lord, I have declared it more than once, it would be quite mad of me to abandon you who, when this land, my cherished Thebes, was in great peril, set it right again, and who, in these troubled times, should... who were a trusty and successful guide.
By all the gods, my king, will you please let me know why in this present matter you now feel such unremitting rage?
To you I'll speak, lady, since I respect you more than I do these men. It's Creon's fault. He conspired against me.
In this quarrel, what was said? Tell me.
Creon claims that I'm the murderer, that I killed Laius.
Does he know this firsthand, or has he picked it up from someone else?
No, he set up that treasonous prophet. What he says himself all sounds quite innocent.
All right. Forget about those things you said. Listen to me and ease your mind with this. No human being has skill in prophecy. I'll show you why with this example. King Laius once received an oracle. I won't say it came straight from Apollo, but it was from those who do assist the god. It said Laius was fated to be killed by a child of ours, one born to him and me. Now, at least according to the story, one day Laius was killed by foreigners, by robbers, at a place where 3 roads meet. Besides, before our child was 3 days old, Laius pinned his ankles together and ordered other men to take him out on a mountain rock where no one ever goes. And so Apollo's plan that he'd become the one who killed his father didn't work, and Laius never suffered what he'd feared, that his own son would be his murderer, although that's what the oracle had claimed. So don't concern yourself with prophecies. Whatever the gods intend to bring about, they themselves make known quite easily.
Lady, as I listen to these words of yours, my soul is shaken, my mind confused.
Why do you say that? What's worrying you?
I thought I heard you say that Laius was killed at a place where 3 roads meet.
That's what was said and what people still believe.
Where is this place? Where did it happen?
In a land called Phocis. 2 roads lead there, one from Delphi and one from Daulia.
And how long is it since these events took place?
The story was reported in the city just before you took over royal power here in Thebes.
Oh, Zeus, what have you done? What have you planned for me?
What is it? Oedipus, why is your spirit so troubled?
Not yet. No questions yet. Laius, how tall was he? How old a man?
He was big, with hair starting to turn white. In shape, he was not all that unlike you.
The worse for me. I fear I may have placed myself under a dreadful curse without my knowledge.
What do you mean? As I look at you, my king, I start to tremble.
I'm afraid full of terrible fears the prophet sees, but you can reveal this better if you now will tell me one thing more.
I'm shaking, but if you ask me, I will answer you.
Did Laius have a small escort with him, or a troop of soldiers like a royal king?
5 men, including a herald, went with him. A carriage carried Laius.
It's all too clear. Lady, who told you this?
A slave, the only one who got away. He came back here.
Is there any chance he's in our household now?
No, not now. Once he returned and understood that you had just assumed the power of slaughtered Laius, he clasped my hands, begged me to send him off to where our animals graze in the field so he could be as far away as possible from the sight of the town. And so I sent him. He was a slave, but he'd earned my gratitude. He deserved an even greater favor.
I'd like him to come back here to us, and quickly too.
That can be arranged. But why is that something you would want to do?
Lady, I'm afraid I may have already said too much. That's why I'd like to see him here before me.
Then he will be here. But now, my lord, I deserve to know why you are so distressed.
Yes, you do. Well, my forebodings now have grown so great, I will not keep them from you. For who is there I should confide in rather than in you about such a twisted turn of fortune? My father was Polybus of Corinth, my mother Meropia Dorian. There I was regarded as the finest man in all the town until, as chance would have it, something most astonishing took place, though it was not worth what it made me do. At dinner, there was a man who was quite drunk from too much wine, began to shout at me, claiming that I was not my father's real son. That troubled me, but for a day at least I said nothing. The next day I went to my parents, my father and mother together. They were angry at the man who had insulted them in this way, and thus I was reassured. But nevertheless, the accusation always troubled me. The story had become known everywhere. So I went off in secret to Delphi. I didn't tell my mother or my father, but Apollo sent me back without an answer, so I didn't learn what I had come to find. But when he spoke, he uttered monstrous things, strange terrors and horrific miseries, that I was to defile my mother's bed, to bring forth to men a human family that people could not bear to look upon, and slay the father who engendered me. When I heard all that, I ran away from Corinth. From then on, I thought of it as just a place beneath the stars. I went on to other lands so I could never see that prophecy fulfilled, the abomination of my evil fate. In my travels, I came by that place in which you say your king was murdered. And now, lady, I will tell you the truth. As I was on the move, I passed close by a spot where 3 roads meet, and in that place I met a herald and a horse-drawn carriage with a man inside, just as you described. The guy there tried to force me off the road, and the old man too got personally involved. In my rage, I lashed out at the driver, who was shoving me aside. The old man kept his eye on me, and seeing me walking past his carriage, struck me on the head with his double goad right here on top. Well, I retaliated in good measure. With the staff I held, I hit him a quick blow and knocked him from his carriage to the road. He lay there on his back. Then I killed them all. If that stranger was somehow linked to Laius, who is now more unfortunate than me? What man could be more hateful to the gods? No stranger and no citizen can welcome him into their lives or talk to him. A curse I laid upon myself. With these hands, these killers' hands, I now contaminate the dead man's bed. Am I not depraved? Am I not utterly abhorrent? Now I must fly into exile, and there a fugitive, never see my people, never set foot in my native land, or else I must marry my mother and kill my father who raised me, the man who gave me life. If anyone claims some malevolent god were responsible for this, would he not be right? Oh, you gods, you pure blessed gods, may I not see that day. Let me rather vanish from the sight of men before I see a fate like that engulf me.
My lord, to me these things are ominous, but you must sustain your hope until you hear from the servant who was there at the time.
I do have some hope left, at least enough to wait for the man we've summoned from the fields.
Once he comes, what do you hope to hear?
I'll tell you. If we discover what he says matches what you say, then I'll escape disaster.
What was so remarkable in what I said?
In your version of events, you claim the man said that Laius was killed by a band of thieves. If he still says the same, that Laius was killed by several men, then I was not the killer, since one man could never be mistaken for a crowd. But if he says it was a single man, then the scales of justice sink down on me.
Well, that's certainly what he reported then. He cannot now withdraw what he once said. The whole city heard him, not just me alone. But even if he changes that odd news, he cannot ever prove, my lord, that Laius' murder fits the prophecy. For Apollo clearly said the man would die at the hands of an infant born from me. Now, how did that unhappy son of ours kill Laius when he'd perished long before? As far as these predictions go, I wouldn't look for confirmation anywhere.
You're right in what you say, but nonetheless, send for that servant. Don't fail to do that.
I'll call him here as quickly as I can. I'll not do anything which does not meet with your approval.
No longer will I go in reverence to the sacred stone. There's no evidence. Our loftiest traditions even consecrate. If these prophecies fail to be fulfilled, if we don't answer how Laius was killed,
The ancient oracles are withering away.
Zeus deserve your names. Use your ageless might. My religious faith is being cast aside by the mortal man you permit to stay, and yet I'm withering away.
May ill fate seize such a man for his disastrous arrogance. No reverence for the statues of the gods.
But if a man conducts himself disdainfully in what he says and does, is the arrow of the gods still aimed at his heart?
Zeus deserve your names. Use your ageless might.
My religious faith is being cast aside
By the mortal man you permit to stay,
and yet I'm withering away.
those laws engendered in the heavenly skies, whose only father is Olympus, not born from mortal men, no world that close their eyes, be forgotten in sudden sickness.
I pray fate still finds me worthy in all I say and do. But if such actions are considered worthy, who exactly are we dancing to?
That insolence which vainly crowns itself and overflows with so much wealth.
Zeus deserve your names. Use your ageless might. My religious faith is being cast aside by the mortal man you permit to stay, and yet I'm withering away, and yet I'm withering away.
You leading citizens of Thebes, I think it is appropriate for me to visit our god's sacred shrines, bearing this offering of incense. For Oedipus has let excessive pain seize on his heart, and does not understand what's happening now by thinking of the past, like a man with sense. Instead, he listens to whoever speaks to him of dreadful things. I can do nothing more with my advice, and so, Lycian Apollo, I come to you, who stand here beside us, a suppliant with offerings and prayers for you to find some way of cleansing what corrupts us. For now we are all afraid, like those who on a ship see their helmsman terrified.
Strangers, can you tell me where I find the house of Oedipus, or better yet, if you know, where I may find the man himself?
This is his house, stranger, and he is here. This lady is the mother of his children.
Oh, may her happy home always be blessed, for she is his wife, true mistress of his house.
I wish the same for you, stranger, but tell us now why you have come. Do you seek information, or do you wish to give us some report?
Good lady, I bring news for your whole house, and for your husband too.
What news is that? Where have you come from?
I've come from Corinth. I'll report my news immediately, and then no doubt you will be glad, though perhaps you will be sad as well.
What is your news? How can it have two such effects at once?
The people that live there, in the lands beside the isthmus, have made him their king. They have announced it.
What are you saying? Is old man Polybus no longer king?
No, he is dead and in his grave.
What? Has Oedipus' father died?
Yes. If what I am saying is not the truth, then I myself deserve to die.
You there, go at once and report this to your master. Oh, you oracles of the gods, so much for you. Oedipus has for so long been afraid he would murder him, he ran away, and now Polybus has died, killed by fate and not by Oedipus.
Jocasta, my dearest wife, why have you summoned me?
You must hear this man, and as you listen, decide for yourself what these prophecies, these solemn proclamations from the gods amount to.
Who is this man? What report does he have for me?
He comes from Corinth and brings news that Polybus, your father, no longer is alive. He's dead.
What? Stranger, let me hear from you in person.
If I must first report my news quite plainly, then I must tell you that Polybus is dead. He's gone.
By treachery or the result of some disease?
Well, in old age, a slight weight on the scales brings final peace.
So it appears his death was from an illness?
Yes, and from old age.
Alas! Indeed, lady, why should a man pay due reverence to Apollo's shrine where his prophet lives, or to those birds which scream out overhead? For they foretold that I was going to murder my own father, and yet he is dead and lies beneath the earth, and I am here. I never touched my spear. Perhaps he died from a desire to see me. So in that sense, I brought about his death. But as for those prophetic oracles, they're worthless. Polybus has taken them to Hades where he lies.
Was I not the one who predicted this some time ago?
You did, but then I was misguided by my fears.
You must not keep on filling up your heart with all these things.
But my mother's bed, surely I should still be afraid of that.
Why should a man whose life seems ruled by chance live in fear? A man who never looks ahead, who has no certain vision of his future. It's best to live haphazardly, as best one can. Do not worry you will wed your mother. It's true that in their dreams a lot of men have slept with their own mothers, but someone who ignores all this bears life more easily.
What you have said would be commendable if my mother were not still alive. But since she is, I must remain afraid, though all you said is right.
But still, your father's death is a great comfort to us.
Yes, it is. I know that. But that woman, I do fear her. She is still alive.
My lord, this one you speak of, what type of woman is she?
Old man, her name is Merope, wife to Polybus.
And what in her makes you so afraid of her?
Stranger, a dreadful prophecy sent from the gods. Loxias once said it was my fate that I would marry my own mother and shed my father's blood with my own hands. That's why many years ago I left my home in Corinth. Things turn out well, but nonetheless, it brings the sweetest joy to look into the eyes of one's own parents.
And so because you are afraid of these prophecies, you would not return home to Corinth?
And because I did not want to be my father's killer.
Oh, my lord, since I came to make you happy, why do I not relieve you of these fears?
You would receive from me a worthy thanks.
Well, that's actually the reason I came, so that your return might prove a benefit to me back home.
But I will never go back to my parents.
Oh, my son, it's so clear you have
What
no
are you
idea
saying,
you're
old
talking-
man? In the name of the gods, tell me! I feared Apollo's prophecy might reveal itself in me.
You were afraid you would become corrupted by your parents.
That's right, old man. That was my constant fear.
Then are you aware that these fears of yours are groundless.
And why is that then? If I was born that
Because
child...
you and Polybus are not related.
What are you saying? Polybus wasn't my father.
No, no more than this man here.
But how can any man that means nothing to me be just the same as my own father?
But he was not your father, no more than I am.
Then why did he call me his son?
If you must know, he received you as a gift many years ago. I gave you to him.
He really loved me. How could he if I came from someone else?
Well, because before he had you, he had no other children. And that made him love you.
When you gave me to him, had you bought me or found me by accident?
I found you in the forest valleys of Mount Kithaeron.
What were you doing wandering up there?
I was tending to my flocks of sheep.
You were a shepherd, just a hired servant roaming here and there.
Well, yes, but on that day, I was the one that saved you.
When you picked me up and took me off, what sort of suffering did you save me from?
The ankles on your feet could tell you that.
Oh, my old misfortune. Why mention that?
Well, your ankles had been pierced and pinned together. I set them free.
My dreadful mark of shame. I've had that scar there since I was a child.
That's why fortune gave you your very name, the one you still bear to this day.
Tell me, in the name of heaven, did my parents, my father or my mother do this to me?
That I do not know. The one who gave you to me would know more of that than I.
What are you saying? Someone else gave you to me. It wasn't you who stumbled on me.
Yes, another shepherd gave you to me.
Who? Who was he, do you know? Can you give me any details, things you are quite sure of?
I think he was one of Laius' servants. That's what people said.
You mean King Laius, the one who ruled this land years ago?
Yes, he was one of the king's shepherds.
Well, is he still alive? Can I see him?
You all live here. You would know that better than I.
Does anyone know the man, the shepherd he describes? Have you seen him either in the fields or here in Thebes? Answer me! It's critical! Time at last to find out what this means!
My lord, I believe the man he mentions is the very peasant from the fields you sent for earlier. Jocasta could tell you more than any.
Lady, do you know the man we sent for just minutes ago? The one we've summoned from the fields? Is he the one this messenger refers to?
Why ask me what he means? Forget all that. There's no point trying to sort out what he said.
With all these indications of the truth here in my grasp, I cannot end this now. I must reveal the details of my birth.
No, in the name of the gods, no. If you have some concern for your own life, then stop. Do not keep on investigating this. I will suffer. That will be enough.
Be brave. Even if I should be born from a shameful mother whose family for 3 generations have been slaves, you will still have your noble lineage.
Listen to me. I beg you, do not do this.
I will not be convinced I shall not learn the whole truth of what these facts amount to.
But I care about your own well-being. What I tell you is for your benefit.
What you're telling me for my own good just brings me more distress.
You unhappy man, may you never find out who you really are.
Both of you, go and bring that shepherd here. Leave the lady to enjoy her noble line.
You poor miserable man. There's nothing more that I can say to you. I'll never speak another word again.
Fear her silence will soon break like a terrible storm.
Then let it break, whatever it is. As for myself, no matter how base-born my family, I wish to know the seed from where I came. Perhaps my queen is now ashamed of me and of my insignificant origin. She likes to play the noble lady. But I will never feel myself dishonored. I see myself as a child of fortune, and she is generous, that mother of mine from whom I spring. And the months my siblings have seen me by turns, both small and great. That's how I was born. I cannot prove false to my own nature, nor can I ever cease from seeking out the facts of my own birth.
If I have any power of prophecy or skill in knowing things, then by the Olympian deities, you, Kithaeron, by tomorrow's moon, will surely know that Oedipus pays tribute to us as his native land, both as his mother and as his nurse, and that our choral song and dance acknowledge you because you are so pleasing to our king. Which of the immortal gods bore you to your father Pan, who roams the mountainsides?
You elders, though I've not seen the man we've been seeking for a long time now, if I had to guess, I think I see him. He's coming here. He looks very old, as is appropriate if he's the one. But you've seen him before, you'll recognize him better than I will.
Yes, that's the man he mentioned. He worked for Laius, a trusty shepherd.
Stranger from Corinth, let me first ask you, is this the man you referred to?
Yes, he is. He is the one who stands before you now.
You! Old man, look at me. Now answer what I ask. Some time ago, did you work for Laius?
Yes, as a slave, but I was not brought or grew up in his house.
And how did you live? What was the work you did?
Most of my life I spent looking after sheep.
Whereabouts? In what specific places?
On Cathiron or the neighbouring lands.
And did you ever come across this man anywhere up there?
Doing what? What man do you mean?
The man over here, this one. Have you ever run into him?
Right now I can't say I remember, no.
My lord, surely that's not surprising. Allow me to jog his failing memory. I have no doubt he will recall the time we spent on Mount Cathiron. He had 2 flocks of sheep and I had 1. We would be there for 6 months at a stretch, from early spring until the autumn season. In the winter, he would drive his sheep down to the folds that Laius owned, and I would take mine to my pen. Is that not what happened, what I just said?
You spoke the truth, but it was long ago.
Well, then tell me, do you remember that you gave me a child, an infant boy, to raise as my own foster son?
What? Why ask about that?
This man here, old friend, was that young child back then.
Damn you! Can't you keep quiet about it?
Hold on, old man. Don't criticize him. What you have said is far more objectionable than his account.
My noble master, what have I done wrong?
You did not tell us of that infant boy, the one he asked about.
That's what he says, but he knows nothing. A useless busybody.
You won't tell us of your own free will. Once we start to hurt you, you will talk.
By all the gods, don't torture an old man.
My lord, you can't. Ajax tied this fellow.
What are you doing? You can't do this. It's too much for me. What is it you want to know?
That child he mentioned, did you give it to him?
Yes. How I wish I'd died that day.
Well, you are going to die today if you don't speak the truth.
And if I do, the death I suffer will be even worse.
Seems to me the man is trying to stall.
No, I'm not. I'm telling the truth. I did give him the child.
Where did you get the child? Was it from your own home or somewhere else?
It was not mine. I got it from someone else.
Who? Whose house was it? Which was our citizens?
Alas, my lord, don't ask. Please, no more questions.
If I have to ask again, then you will die.
The child was born in Laius' house.
From a slave or some relative of his?
Alas, my lord, what I'm about to say now, it's horrible.
And I'm about to hear it. But nonetheless, I must know this.
If you must know, they say the child was his. But your wife is best to tell you what's going on.
She gave the child to you?
Yes, my lord.
Why did she do that?
So I would kill it.
That wretched woman was the mother?
Yes, she was afraid of dreadful prophecies.
What prophecies?
The story went that he would kill his father.
If that was true, then why? Why did you give the child to this old man?
Because I pitied the boy, master, and thought he'd take him off to a foreign land from where he was from. But you rescued him, only to save him for the greatest grief of all. For if you're the one this man says you are, you know your birth carries an awful fate.
Ah, so it all came true then. It's so clear now. Oh, light, let me look at you one final time. A man who stands revealed as cursed by birth. Cursed by my own family, cursed by murder!
Oh, child Elias, how I wish I'd never seen you. Years you dwelt in the same place of refuge, both as a child and then as a father. It was you who fell at the altar. How I count your life as scarcely living. What man is there, what human being? The one who ruled now is here to demonstrate. Poor wretched Oedipus, have you met your fate?
We have called you our king for many seasons, many years. Now who is there whose story is more terrible to hear? You've been so changed by trouble, cursed by oracles against lies. But it's through you the darkness veils my eyes.
above all other men, who attains a greater happiness, where no mortal man is ever blessed. And from that moment, Oedipus,
Alas for
celebrated Oedipus,
the highest happiness in everything, by such ferocious agonies, how I
count your life as scarcely living. What man is there, what human being?
How I
Count your life as scarcely living. What man is there, what human being? And from that moment, Oedipus, celebrated Oedipus,
the highest
happiness in everything, by such ferocious agonies. We've called you our king for many seasons, many years, but now who is that whose story is more terrible to hear? You've been so changed by trouble, cursed by oracles against lies, but it's through you the darkness veils my eyes. Many years, now who is that whose story is more terrible to hear? You've been so changed by trouble, cursed by oracles against lies, but it's through you the darkness veils my eyes.
Get off me! No! Lord Oedipus, please! My lord, you're still king in Corinth! Lord Oedipus! Oh, God! God! Where is my wife? No, Oedipus, I beg you, come and see how many... No, shut me! Oh, God. You've witnessed what I wish you had never seen. The agonies I suffer, the dreadful things I did. So now and for all future time be dark. Most honored citizens of Thebes, what actions you will hear about and see, what sorrows you will bear, if as natives of this land you are still loyal to the house of Labdacus. I do not think that Ister nor the faceless rivers could cleanse this house, for it conceals too much. Vile deeds done by choice and not by accident. It is the things which we do to ourselves which cause us the most pain.
These calamities we knew already were enough to bear. What can you say that will make them worse?
I shall not waste my words. Our noble queen, Jocasta, is dead.
That poor unhappy lady.
She killed herself. She rushed into the house, crying out for Laius. Oedipus came after her, crying out for that wife who was no wife, from whose mother's womb both he and his children were born, spurred on by some immortal god. No mortal in the room could touch him.
That's when we saw her, swaying there, hanging, twisted cords roped around her neck. From her clothes he ripped the golden brooches she wore as ornaments, raised them high above his head, and drove them deep into his eyeballs, not once, but many times, right in the sockets.
With every blow, blood spurted from his eyes, showers of dark blood spattering like hail.
So what these two have done is overwhelmed not one alone. This disaster swallows up both man and wife together. That old happiness they had in their rich ancestry, that was true joy. But now lament and ruin, death and shame, and all other calamities a man can name are theirs to keep.
He is asked to be thrown out of Thebes. So the curse he has laid will not remain on his house if he still lives inside. But he is weak and needs someone to aid him on his journey. His shame is more than he can bear.
Open the gate. An awful fate for human eyes to witness. An appalling sight, the worst I've ever seen. Oh, you poor man, what drove you to this? What eternal force, springing further than the largest leap, brought you to such a fearful doom? Alas, I cannot look at you. Oh, so much I wish to ask you, so much I wanted to learn. You fill me with such horror. But there's more that I must see.
How miserable I am. Such wretchedness. Where do I go? How can the wings of air sweep up my voice? Oh, my destiny, how far you sprung now.
To a fearful place men turn away from, a place they hate to look upon.
Oh, the dark horror wrapped around me. That nameless visitor I can't resist, sent here on fair but fatal winds. Alas for me. And yet again, alas for me. The pain of stabbing brooches pierces me. The memory of agonizing shame.
In your agony, it's not astonishing. You bear a double load of suffering, a double load of pain.
Oh, my friend, you still care for me, and now with patience nurse me while I'm blind. Alas, you're not hidden from me. Though I am blind, I know that voice so well.
What drove you to this? How could you dare to blind yourself in such a way? What god made you?
It was Apollo, friends. It was Apollo. He brought on all these troubles, the agonies I suffer. But the hand which stabbed out my eyes was mine alone in my wretched life. Why should I have eyes when there was nothing sweet for me to see?
What you have said is true enough.
What is there for me to see, my friends? What can I love? Whose greeting can I hear and feel delight? Come, lead me away, somewhere. A man completely lost, utterly accursed. The mortal man the gods despise the most.
Unhappy in your body and your mind, which now knows all. Would I had never known you.
The man who rescued me, who released me from that cruel shackle and saved me from death, may that man die! It was a thankless act. Had I perished then, I would not have brought such troubles to myself or to my friends.
I agree. I too would have preferred if you had died.
I would not have come to kill my father, and men would not see in me the husband of the woman who gave birth to me. Now I am abandoned by the gods, the son of a corrupted mother conceiving children with a woman who gave me my own miserable life. If there was some fate more serious than all the rest, then it too belongs to the fate of Oedipus.
I do not believe what you have done to yourself is for the best.
Don't tell me what I've done is not the best. And from now on, spare me your advice. If I could see, I don't know how my eyes could look at my father when I come to Hades, or at my wretched mother. Against those two I have committed acts so vile that even if I hanged myself, it would not be sufficient punishment. Suppose you think the sight of my own children might give me joy. No! Look at how they were born. They could never bring delight to eyes of mine. Nor could the city and its great walls, nor the sacred images of its gods. I am the most abhorred of men. I, the finest man bred here in Thebes, I have condemned myself, telling everyone they had to banish for impiety the one the gods have now exposed as sacrilegious, the son of Laius too. With such polluting stains upon me, could I look at you and hold your gaze? No! And if I could somehow block up my ears and kill my hearing, I would not hold back. I'd make a dungeon of this wretched body so I would never hear or see again. For there is some joy in isolated thought, completely sealed off from a world of pain. Oh, Cathiron, why did you shelter me? Why, when I was handed over to you, did you not do away with me at once, so I would never then reveal to men the true nature of my birth? Ah, Polybus and Corinth, the place men called my home, my father's ancient house, you raised me well so fine to look at, so corrupt inside. Ah, you three roads, you thicket and defile where three paths meet, you who swallowed down my father's blood from my own hands. Do you remember me? Do you remember what I did there in front of you and what else I did when I came here to Thebes? Ah, you marriage rites, you gave birth to me, and once I was born, you gave birth once more, creating an incestuous blood family of fathers, brothers, children, wives, mothers, and brides. The most atrocious act human beings can commit. But it is wrong to talk about what it is wrong to do. So now, lead me away from Thebes as quickly as you can. Come. Allow yourselves to touch a wretched man, for this disease infects no one but me.
Creon is here. Thank you. Creon is coming. He's just in time to carry out what you propose. With you gone, he's the only one left to act as guardian of Thebes.
Alas, how will I talk to him? How can I ask him to put his trust in me? Not long ago I showed I had no faith in him at all.
Oedipus, I have not come here to mock or to blame you for the disasters in the past. But if you can no longer value human beings, at least respect our Lord the Sun, whose light makes all things grow, and do not put on show pollution of this kind in such a public way. For neither earth, nor light, nor sacred rain can welcome such a sight. The kindest thing would be for the members of your own family to be the only ones to see and hear you.
Oh, the gods, since you are now acting so differently than what I would expect, and to come here to treat me with graciously, the worst of men. Do what I ask. I will speak for your own benefit, not mine.
What are you so keen to get from me?
Cast me out as quickly as you can, away from Thebes, to a place where no living human being will cross my path.
That is something I could do, of course. But now, with things the way they are, I wish to know what the gods say about what I should do.
But what he said was also clear. The one who killed his father must be destroyed. And that corrupted man is me.
Yes, that is what was said. But the wisest thing is to ascertain quite clearly what we should do.
Will you be making a request on my behalf when I am so depraved?
I will. For even you must now trust in the gods.
Yes, I do. And and I have a task for you as I make this plea. That woman in the house, please bury her as you see fit. You are the one to give your own the proper funeral rites. But never let my father's city be condemned to having me live here while I still live. Let me make my home up in the mountains by Cathiron, whose fame is now my own. My father and mother were still alive. They chose it as my special burying place, and thus, when I die, I will be carrying out the orders of the ones who tried to kill me. As for my 2 sons, Creon, there's no need for you to look after them. They are men, and wherever they are, they will always have enough to live on. But my 2 poor daughters have never known my dining table placed away from them, nor lacked their father's presence. Everything I touched, they shared with me. So it has always been. So have pity on them and... Well, what's this? In the name of heaven, I hear something. Is it my 2 dear children? Has Creon taken pity on me and sent them out from the house? My dearest treasures. Is that what's going on?
Yes. I sent for them. I know the joy they've always given you, the joy which you feel now.
I wish you well. And for this act, may the gods watch over you and treat you better than they treated me. And my children, where are you? Feel these hands which turned your father's eyes once so bright into what you see now. He was a man who, seeing nothing, knowing nothing, fathered you with the woman who gave birth to him. I weep for you. The bitter life men will force on you. What citizens will associate with you? Your father killed his father, and then plowed his mother's womb where he was born, conceiving you where he too was conceived. Those are the insults they will hurl at you. Son of Monosius, with both their parents gone, you alone remain these children's father. You are a relative of theirs. Don't let them sink into lives of desperation like my own. Have pity. You see them now in their young age, deprived of everything except to share in what you are. Promise me, you noble soul, you will extend your hand to them. And you, my children, if your minds were now mature, there's so much I could say, but I urge you to live as best you can and to lead your lives more happily than your own father.
You have grieved enough. Now go into the house.
I must obey, though it is not what I desire.
In due time, all things will work out for the best.
I will go. But you know there are conditions.
Tell me.
Send me away to live outside of Thebes.
Only the gods can give you what you ask for.
But I become abhorrent to the gods.
Then you should quickly get what you desire.
So you agree?
I do not mean to speak thoughtlessly and say things that I don't mean.
Come then. Guide me off.
All right. But first, let go of the children.
No. No! Don't take them from me!
Don't try to keep control over everything. You have lost the power your life once had.